The clone army wasn't just made up of basic troopers. There were dozens of specialized units, each designed for a unique purpose in the war against the Separatists. From covert assassins to battlefield engineers, some of these clones were never even meant to be seen. Today, we're breaking down every single type of clone trooper in the Star Wars universe, including the ones you've probably never heard of. The standard clone troopers were the core of the Grand Army of the Republic, engineered to be the Republic's ultimate soldiers in the Clone Wars. Grown from the genetic blueprint of Jango Fett, they were built for combat, boasting superior strength, quick tactical instincts, and unwavering loyalty. The creation of the clone army was commissioned by Jedi Master Sifo Dyas, who foresaw a devastating galactic war. Without the Senate's knowledge, the army was secretly developed on the stormy, ocean-covered world of Kamino. From birth, clone cadets were placed in the hands of the Kaminoans, who drilled them with relentless discipline, teamwork, and combat training. One of the most brutal parts of their training was the Citadel Challenge, a survival course so intense it was designed to push them beyond their mental and physical breaking points. Those who passed emerged as elite warriors, well-versed in handling weapons like the DC-15A blaster rifle and the DC-15S carbine, both standard issue in the field. Though identical in appearance and bred for obedience, the clones developed their own personalities, especially as they fought side by side under Jedi command. Their stark white armor became one of the most recognizable symbols of the war. But beneath that armor was a chilling secret. Every clone carried an implanted inhibitor chip. This chip, placed without their knowledge, allowed Darth Sidious to activate Order 66 and force the clones to betray the Jedi in an instant. With soldiers like that, it's no wonder they were considered the Republic's strongest asset. Advanced Recon Force Troopers were a specialized unit trained for stealth, recon missions, and navigating hostile terrain. These elite scouts were known for their distinctive, streamlined helmets that gave them wide-angle vision and advanced optical enhancements. Whether on foot or riding ATRTs and speeder bikes, ARF Troopers excelled in gathering intel and scouting enemy positions before full-scale assaults began. Their armor was adapted with camouflage patterns for desert, forest, or urban operations, perfect for slipping behind enemy lines unnoticed. Two of the most iconic ARF troopers, Boyle and Waxer, began as standard soldiers before earning their spots in this elite division. During the Second Battle of Geonosis, they famously rescued Obi-Wan Kenobi from a downed gunship. Clone medics were the unsung heroes of the battlefield. Trained to administer emergency care during active combat, they held knowledge of clone anatomy that was implanted before birth. This gave them the ability to assess and treat injuries specific to their brothers with incredible speed and precision. Marked by a red cross on their armor, medics were some of the most respected clones in the ranks. One name stands above the rest: Kix. He was known not just for his medical skills, but for uncovering the dark truth behind the inhibitor chips. But just as he was about to reveal what he learned, he was captured by force loyal to Count Dooku and frozen in stasis, only to be discovered long after the Republic collapse. His story remains one of the most tragic in the 501st. Clone Paratroopers, also known as airborne troopers, were elite infantry trained for high-altitude drops and lightning-fast deployments. These soldiers were vital for launching airbase assaults and pulling off rapid strike maneuvers. Their helmets were reinforced to endure the pressure and heat of high-altitude descents, and their armor was built to cushion impact, allowing them to hit the ground running, literally. These troopers dropped straight from gunships into the chaos of war, ready to fight the moment they landed. Plus, they had one of the coolest armor designs in the entire army. Clone gunners, on the other hand, were the heavy hitters, tasked with operating vehicle-mounted weapons and massive artillery units. They were essential in large-scale battles. Their training emphasized precision, timing, and handling high-powered weaponry like the ATT cannons and other devastating tech. Gunners wore reinforced armor with unique helmets fitted with enhanced optics, giving them better aim and the ability to track fast-moving targets. This specialized gear protected them from the intense shockwaves and heat generated by the weapons they controlled, allowing them to remain effective in brutal combat conditions. Clone jet troopers were highly specialized soldiers equipped with jetpacks, allowing them to dominate vertical battlefields and reach difficult terrain with ease. Their aerial capabilities gave them the edge in flanking maneuvers, rapid repositioning, and delivering overhead fire support to units on the ground. These troopers were essential in scenarios where speed and vertical mobility were key, especially in city sieges and mountainous battles. To support their airborne role, they wore lightweight armor that reduced drag and lessened the physical toll of flight. Their helmets were specially designed to withstand sudden altitude shifts and the high velocity of aerial combat. One of their most impactful deployments was during the Battle of Yerbana, when the 501st sent in large numbers of jet troopers. They rained down grenades from the skies, devastating the droid ranks from above. Clone Scuba Troopers, on the other hand, were elite underwater units designed for aquatic warfare, trained for silent, submersible infiltration. Their gear was optimized for underwater operations, including streamlined armor, powerful rebreathers, and fins that allowed for quick and stealthy movement beneath the surface. These troopers carried DC-12U blasters, specifically built for use underwater, where standard blasters would fail. Their specialized training allowed them to navigate low-visibility environments, avoid detection, and adapt to the unique challenges of combat below the waves. Then there were the Clone Flame Troopers, bringers of absolute devastation. Deployed for missions requiring overwhelming firepower, they were especially effective against insectoid species like the Geonosians. Outfitted with Mk2 hotspot armor, these clones were shielded from heat and toxic fumes by reinforced respirators and heat-resistant layers. Their terrifying presence cleared bunkers, hives, and fortified tunnels with brutal efficiency. The design of their armor and weapon systems later inspired the Empire's infamous Incinerator Troopers, whose gear was built on the foundations laid during the Clone Wars. The Clone Bomb Squad, also known as Ordnance Specialists, were tasked with the nerve-wracking job of detecting and disarming explosive devices. These clones were trained in advanced circuitry, wiring, and bomb defusal techniques, often risking their lives in high-stakes environments where one wrong move meant total destruction. Unfortunately, their armor was just standard Phase 1 gear with orange markings, thin, and offering little real protection against the very blasts they were working to prevent. Bomb Squad casualties were predictably high. Clone Scout Troopers were reconnaissance experts trained for long-range missions and survival in remote terrain. Often deployed ahead of major offensives, they provided valuable intel by identifying enemy positions, surveying landscapes, and tracking movement, all while staying undetected. Their gear was lighter and more adaptable than standard armor, built for comfort and mobility during extended field ops. Whether in jungle, desert, or rocky terrain, Scout Troopers were vital eyes on the ground. Their most well-known deployment was on Kashyyyk, where armies of scouts gathered critical data for the defense of the Wookiee homeworld. And yes, their armor design, absolutely sick. Cold Assault Troopers were equipped for battle in the most brutal environments the galaxy could offer, icy wastelands like Ordo Plutonia. Outfitted in HT-77 Cold Assault armor, these troopers could operate in extreme sub-zero temperatures thanks to thermal insulation that locked in body heat and prevented frostbite. Their gear also included anti-glare visors to reduce snow blindness and helmet audio filters to cancel the roar of high winds. The Cold Assault armor was eventually re-engineered into the Empire's snow trooper suits, proof of how effective these early designs were in winter warfare. Heavy weapons troopers were built for destruction, armed with high-caliber blasters, rocket launchers, and anti-tank missiles. They were the first line of defense against enemy vehicles, artillery, and bunkers. Their armor was reinforced for added protection, helping them survive the concussive force of their own firepower and the retaliation that usually followed. There are many versions of these troopers, but let's be honest, the bulkier, slower trooper from Battlefront 2 captures that heavy-hitting presence perfectly. Clone pilots were another vital cog in the Republic's war machine. Selected for their quick reflexes and spatial awareness, they piloted the gunships, fighters, and transports that moved troops and gear across the galaxy. From LAAT gunships to ARC 170 starfighters, these clones were trained for high-pressure dogfights and precise extractions. Their flight suits balanced maneuverability with protection, and their helmets featured advanced HUDs, oxygen filtration, and targeting systems. Pilots also carried survival kits for emergencies like crash landings or prolonged isolation. While they rarely saw ground combat, every clone pilot still carried a compact blaster, just in case. The Coruscant Guard, commonly known as Shock Troopers, were among the Republic's most elite units. Their main role was to maintain peace and security on Coruscant, acting as military police and personal guards for high-ranking officials, including Chancellor Palpatine himself. As Palpatine's power expanded, so did theirs. The Guard became a symbol of Republic control, later Imperial authority. Their presence on Coruscant grew heavier, more intimidating, and far more aggressive. And while their armor looked phenomenal, their commander remains one of the most hated characters in the franchise. Riot Troopers were a specialized branch of the Coruscant Guard, trained to manage unrest and crowd control in the chaotic lower levels of Coruscant. Their armor was modified with reinforced plating and impact-resistant visors to protect against debris, projectiles, and hostile mobs. Rather than traditional blasters, they wielded shock batons and riot shields, tools for subduing opponents without lethal force. Their arsenal also included stun and smoke grenades to control crowds and de-escalate conflict. But these troopers weren't just brute enforcers, they were also trained in negotiation and civil containment, using both tactics and presence to keep peace in the Republic's most dangerous urban zones. The Galactic Marines were one of the Republic's most elite and adaptable units, part of the 21st Nova Corps. Led by Jedi General Ki-Adi-Mundi and the brutally efficient clone commander Bakara, they were known for their ruthless discipline and unmatched versatility. These Marines were deployed in everything from brutal ground battles to zero-gravity boarding operations, adapting to any environment thrown their way. Commander Bakara had a notorious reputation. He expected absolute perfection. If a Marine couldn't meet his impossible standards, they were reassigned without hesitation. Their armor was just as striking as their tactics, deep maroon in color, complete with environmental face shields to survive harsh conditions like snowstorms, sandstorms, or volcanic ash. Typically armed with DC-15A rifles or DC-15S blasters, they were formidable on the battlefield. So, from deep cover spies to flamethrower-wielding tanks, the Grand Army of the Republic had a clone for every mission imaginable. Some were heroes, others were shadows, but all of them played a role in shaping galactic history. Is your favorite clone trooper variant missing from this list? Then be on the lookout for part 2, and in the meantime, be sure to check out more related content shown on screen.